Here's your wrestling news for May 22nd, 2022, and your headlines for today include Sasha Banks spotted for first time since WWE Raw Walkout, WWE removes Sasha Banks and Naomi from Then Now Forever Together opening and replace her with top Raw superstar, WWE removes Sasha Banks and Naomi from all their social media pages, Naomi takes a drastic decision. CM Punk makes a parent comment to WWE locker room after Sasha Banks and Naomi walk out, Miro reacts. WWE blasted for calling Sasha Banks and Naomi's walkout unprofessional. Roman Reigns' next 3 title challengers revealed. Stephanie McMahon's team was dismantled during last round of WWE Layoffs. Triple H's new position in WWE is categorically different from his previous role. Charlotte Flair was supposed to strip Toni Storm instead of throwing pie in her face. Nia Jax accuses Becky Lynch of not having a good friendship with anyone in WWE. Vince McMahon never saw Bray Wyatt as a top guy in WWE. We're kicking off today with Sasha Banks, who walked out of this week's Raw alongside Naomi. Citing creative differences with WWE's plans, the pair have since been suspended and won't be appearing on WWE TV for quite some time. It's been reported that Banks has zero support from WWE management, but the boss recently tried to forget her troubles at a Steve Aoki concert. In a video shared online, Banks can be seen having a good time and flexes for the camera. Banks and Naomi have been stripped of the WWE Women's Tag titles, and Banks herself has faced accusations of manipulating Naomi into walking out this week, but none of this stopped the boss from enjoying herself in her first post-walkout public appearance. Banks and Naomi have been indefinitely suspended and will not be appearing in any matches for the foreseeable future, but that's not all the former champions have been pulled from. Eagle-eyed fans were able to spot in the Then Now Forever video package that both The Boss and The Glow have been removed and replaced. In Banks' case, she's been erased and replaced by Cody Rhodes, while the spot where Naomi once featured is now filled by SmackDown Women's Champion Ronda Rousey. To put it into context, the last time WWE pulled someone from the video package was last year with Ric Flair, who was edited out due to the infamous Dark Side of the Ring episode on the plane ride from hell. This isn't all WWE have done to distance themselves from Sasha Banks and Naomi, as both of their profiles on Facebook have been removed. Between having their merch pulled, their profiles removed, and their presences edited out of WWE programming, WWE doesn't want fans to see even a trace of Banks or Naomi, who may be away for a very long time to come. More from the Sasha Banks and Naomi saga now, as WWE has done all they can to distance themselves from the duo, but Naomi is also distancing herself from WWE. On social media, Naomi has purged her various accounts of all references to WWE, with her Twitter profile now just linking to her Instagram and TikTok. Naomi has removed any reference to her being a superstar, and while her Twitter handle is still Naomi WWE, that's only because changing her handle would mean losing her verified status. With Naomi's contract set to expire later this year, this could be a sign that her time with the company is coming to an end, and we'll have to see where the Glow goes from here. Plenty of people have weighed in about the Banks-Naomi situation, but one name who knows a thing or two about walking out of WWE is CM Punk. It was just over 8 years ago that Punk walked out and never returned to the ring, and on Twitter, the AEW star didn't name names, but the point of his tweet was very clear. Doesn't matter if your opinion of your coworker is positive or negative, stand with them, because they'll do the same thing to you and you'll wish someone helped. Trust me, you're expendable. Together, you're unstoppable. Punk gained a lot of support online with his pro-Banks and Naomi tweet, but one person who had an interesting reaction was Miro. In his response to Punk's tweet, the former TNT champion gave a single crying with laughter emoji and didn't explain what he found so funny. Fans debated whether Miro was taking a dig at Punk's message of unity, or if he was laughing at the idea of a WWE locker room standing up for themselves against management. Whatever Miro meant, he's not telling anyone, not even Punk, but we'll just have to see if the WWE locker room stands up for Banks and Naomi, as Punk has suggested. On the same Raw that Banks and Naomi walked out of, WWE chose to address the situation, saying that the pair had acted unprofessionally. Fans didn't expect WWE to address the walkout on air or so quickly, and many had an issue with the verbiage the company chose. Speaking on Busted Open Radio, AEW's Mark Henry blasted WWE for calling them unprofessional and said that Jimmy Uso should have confronted Corey Graves over the call. My issue was not even with the walkout. My issue was not even with the disagreement or the disclaimer. My issue was with people on the show saying that it was unprofessional, because I will have to tell you right now, if that was my wife and I'm working on that show, I'm seriously going to walk down to the announce table and I'm going to say, hey, you stay professional, do your job, and then I won't have to walk down here to the ring to tell you not to do that again. Henry's attitude may be noble, but it's Banks and Naomi not doing their job that started this issue in the first place, and we doubt Naomi's husband coming down to confront Graves would have been beneficial to anyone involved. Corey Graves may have had things to say this week about the suspended superstars, but one person who didn't is Pat McAfee, who remained silent on SmackDown when Michael Cole announced their suspension. McAfee didn't utter a word, but he said plenty with his reactions, and fans on social media quickly took notice. From his look of disgust when Cole said that Naomi and Sasha had let everyone down, to his general reaction to the announcement, McAfee quickly began trending as fans said he believes this suspension is wrong. Whatever Pat may feel about the situation, he's not being paid by WWE to give his opinions on this serious matter, and we'll have to see how others react as more information from this infamous walkout comes out. We've got news from Roman Reigns now, who will be wrestling much less thanks to a lucrative new deal. It's been reported that Reigns' next title defenses will come exclusively at stadium events, and we now know who the Tribal Chief will be stepping in the ring with. In the latest Observer newsletter, it's noted that at this time, the plan is for Reigns to defend the undisputed WWE Universal Championship against Riddle at Money in the Bank and against Randy Orton at SummerSlam. This explains why Reigns and the Bloodline gave RKO a post-match beatdown on this week's SmackDown, and it's expected that the former Raw Tag Team Champions could miss Hell in a Cell. As for September's Clash at the Castle, the planned match is for Reigns to defend against Drew McIntyre, which implies that the head of the table will be retaining against Orton and Riddle. Of course, plans are always subject to change, as we saw on this week's Raw, but these are the matches fans can look forward to over the next few months. This week, Stephanie McMahon announced that she would be taking an extended leave of absence, vacating the majority of her roles with WWE. Much of Stephanie's work will now be covered by Nick Khan, who continues to grow in influence backstage, but now more information has come out from WWE's corporate side. According to Fightful Select, many of the names Stephanie had grown close with were no longer with WWE, thanks to the never-ending budget cuts that Khan has taken responsibility for. Last year, much of Stephanie McMahon's team that she worked with directly was dismantled during rounds of office layoffs. Those that we spoke to who worked directly with Stephanie McMahon spoke highly of her and said they enjoyed their time there. One said that they weren't surprised by her decision, but didn't have any reason behind it. It's worth stressing that there's no proof that Stephanie's decision to take a break was influenced by these cuts, and it's said that there's no bad blood between her and WWE over this week's decision, as McMahon can now enjoy some time with her family rather than at work. Stephanie took her hiatus to spend more time with her family, but this week, it's been reported that Triple H is back working with WWE full-time. The Game had been away from WWE HQ due to his cardiac event last September, and while he's back, he's not in the same roles as before. That's according to Fightful Select, who report that Triple H's new gig in WWE is vastly different than what he had before, saying, Triple H is back working now, although we're told his duties from before his cardiac event to now are categorically different. Brandon Thurston revealed that he heard WWE President Nick Khan would be assuming some of Stephanie's work. He's received high marks within the company so far. It was at WrestleMania Sunday that Triple H signaled that his in-ring career is truly over, leaving his boots in the ring. And while the King of Kings can look forward to many more years working for WWE in a non-wrestling capacity, it won't be in the roles he once held. Last year, Nia Jax was cut from WWE after a unique time with the promotion. A former Raw Women's and Women's Tag Team Champion, Jax earned a reputation for being dangerous in the ring, but now she's the one making accusations against other wrestlers. On social media this week, Jax was being asked questions from fans, and when one asked if she's friends with Becky Lynch, the former superstar said that Becky doesn't have a good friendship with anyone in WWE. It's certainly a bold claim from Jax, given that according to reports, Lynch is one of the most beloved people backstage in WWE, with everyone not called Charlotte Flair considering her a friend. Lynch recently unfollowed Jax on social media due to the latter's anti-vax stance, and while Lynch remains one of WWE's top superstars, she's not got a friend in the world, according to the ex-WWE talent. Last year, WWE shocked fans by releasing Bray Wyatt, bringing to an end one of the most popular characters in recent years. Despite being a 3-time world champion, Wyatt never enjoyed a lengthy reign on top, and that isn't an accident. Speaking on his Extreme Life podcast, Matt Hardy discussed his former tag team partner and explained how Vince McMahon never saw Bray as a top guy. Ultimately, Vince didn't see him as a top guy. If you're a guy like, The Undertaker, you're going to be treated differently when you're older, obviously. Someone like John Cena, obviously Roman Reigns is the tippy top guy, then you're gonna have other guys who cycle in and out of those things. Cesaro got close there at the end. You had times where Braun Strowman was up and down. Wyatt may have been popular with the fans, but it was ultimately McMahon himself who decided what Bray's future would be in WWE. Since his release, Wyatt hasn't wrestled, but has insisted he will get back in the ring one day, hopefully working for someone he can have a more normal relationship with. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.